Good morning, guys. Happy 4th of July. I hope you've had a great week. Hope you've had a blessed week. Off today from work, but got my mowing trailer on, and gotta go mow a couple of people's yards for them this morning so they can be ready for the 4th tonight. Never ends. Anyway, I wanted to do my baits of the month video for you this morning while I'm headed to my first yard. So anyway, let's get into it. My first bait I'll talk about is the old 10-inch worm. I use the Zoom Old Monster is what I use, but there's several different ones on the market. Berkley, X-Zone, practically every tackle company out there that makes soft plastics has a 10-inch worm or bigger worm. I'll use a bigger, longer worm sometimes. Not real often, but anyway, a 10-inch or a larger worm, just a big plastic worm. Ribbon tail is what I usually use. That is a great July bait, summertime bait. Fish will eat that thing up. I fish it brush piles, rock piles, around boat docks, on points, swim it through standing timber. You don't have to put that plastic worm on the bottom and work it to get bites on it. You can swim that big old ribbon tail worm through suspended fish and they'll hit it. Standing timber, under boat docks, any place where those bass are suspended, you can swim that big ribbon tail worm through them, and they'll come up there and eat that thing. I've caught them like that several times, and usually it's big ones. Usually you can get big ones to hit like that. But I'll throw it on anywhere from 12 to 20 pound test fluorocarbon, 7'3" rod, medium heavy. Well, usually more medium heavy to heavy, because you'll be making a long cast and you'll need to have enough backbone to drive that hook home through the plastic. Then I like a higher gear ratio reel. If you're swimming it, just remember you gotta reel slow. But I like a higher gear ratio reel so I can, when I set the hook, I can start reeling and start moving that fish toward me. Especially if I'm fishing around in brush piles and stuff, you need to get that fish coming to you as quick as you can so he doesn't have such a good a chance to get you hung up. I'll Texas rig it, slip sinker, hook, Texas rig. I'll put it on a wobble head. You can throw that thing out there, let it go to the bottom, and just pull it a little bit, take up slack, pull a little bit, take up slack. You can hop it, or do it just like you do a regular wobble head any other time. Just slow, steady retrieve. You pause it once in a while, you stop it for a couple of seconds, and then start retrieving again. That ribbon tail swim as you're slowly reeling that thing along the bottom. So that's just another way to do it. Or you can Nico rig it. Put a nail weight in the head of it. Put your band on down, say 4 inches down or so, and put your hook under that band. You got your Neko rig, and that's another good way to fish that 10-inch worm. Bait number 2 that I will always have tied on in July, football head jig. Throw it in the same place as brush piles, long points, rock piles, drop offs, ledges. Same tackle setup as the worm. A 1 ounce spinner bait, double willow leaf blade, usually one silver and one gold. Just about all my spinner baits, I'll have one silver blade, one gold blade. I just like the color it gives off as it flashes. But I'll throw that thing on long points, along bluff ends, through standing timber, and just slow roll it fairly close to the bottom. Usually I throw it out there and let it go to the bottom and start slow rolling it in. Give it a twitch once in a while, kill it once in a while, just give it some erratic action. The old spinner bait. A lot of people doesn't throw the old spinner bait this time of year. They think it's more of a spring or fall technique, but you can still catch a lot of bass throwing that spinner bait here in the heat of summer. I'll throw it on basically the same setup as I did my worm and jig. Another good bait to throw in the summertime that a lot of people doesn't think about is get you a 1/4 ounce rattle trap or a lipless crankbait. Get the small one, the little 1/4 ounce, and throw it out there and let it go to the bottom and slowly reel it just above the bottom, or you can yo-yo it, do the yo-yo technique where you pull it up, let it go back down, pull it up, let it go back down. That little 1/4 ounce lipless crankbait can be deadly this time of year. And of course a tube. You throw that tube out there, let it go to the bottom, work it along the bottom. Usually this time of year, if I'm fishing it in brush piles, mainly if I'm going around, if I have the fish patterned on brush piles, and I'll Texas rig that tube and use a Texas rig. But if I'm throwing around suspended fish or on points that doesn't have a lot of cover, then I'll go ahead and use just the old regular tube head where it'll give it the death spiral as it goes down. I'll fish it on 6 or 8 pound test fluorocarbon line. Usually use a medium rod, 7 foot, 7'5", somewhere 7.5 foot rod, so I can get good long cast, and then have enough rod length I can get the hook set, especially if I'm Texas rigging it. You always want to use a light wire hook because you're using that light line, so be sure if you're Texas rigging it that you are using a light wire hook, so it'll be easier for that hook to penetrate through the thin wall of the tube and go into the fish's mouth. And if you're using too heavy a wire hook, it's going to be a lot harder to get that hook driven home without breaking your line. So just be mindful of that. Be mindful of that. And last but not least, you're going to want a top water still in the month of July. Seems like July is when we start seeing the thermocline show up in the lakes. Unless you got a lot of current going through your lake is going to develop a thermocline. And it seems like when the water gets hotter, seems like those fish will kind of tend to move shallower, especially at night, especially if you're night fishing. You can go back to the spinnerbait. If you're night fishing, you're gonna need you a black or black and blue, black or black and blue, black and purple, black and red, black and pink spinnerbait. And I usually use a Colorado blade, 6 or 7 size Colorado blade on my nighttime spinnerbaits. And then let me go back to my worm colors. During the day, daytime fishing, strawberry, red shad, and plum. That's my main 3 colors that I will use on those big worms. I do have some motor oil color. They work really well sometimes. And then, of course, black blue flake is always a good one. If you're still into using salt craws, I love to use salt craws. They still work just as good as they always have. Black, blue, black and chartreuse, and black and pink. Anyway, back to my top waters. Buzz bait, I'll always have on a True Faith Custom Baits buzz bait. I can catch them on that thing really well. If it's cloudy, I can throw it all day. If I'm throwing it around in boat docks in the shade, I can throw it all day. But if I'm just working it down the bank, first thing in the morning and last hour or so at night, and in the evening, if you're working shade lines, you can throw it all day. Fishing at night, you can throw that buzz bait all night, and I mean, you can catch some of the biggest fish in the lake on that buzz bait fishing it at night. And then another great top water for this time of year, a lot of people uses frogs. If you're grass mat fishing or in the grass, frog is great. Go for it. You can catch a lot of fish on that frog. But I like a popper style, like a popper. Any of the popper style baits that you like, that is a great summertime top water. And especially because I mean the bluegills is going to spawn every 30 days, so anytime there's a full moon, look for bluegill beds, a popper is a great bait to fish around bluegill beds. You can throw it around boat docks. You can throw it around standing timber. Throw it over brush piles, say 10 foot or less of water, and rock piles. You can put it over the top of suspended fish, and of course in summertime you're going to have a lot of schooling fish as well. So have that popper ready to work through schooling fish. But you can work it around shade lines, run it down the bank, look for lay downs, just any cover. But a popper is a great bait to throw during the summer, especially when you're fishing around bluegill beds. It's a great bait for around bluegill beds. My favorite colors are black, or a bone color, or in clear waters like we have beaver, table rock, bull shoals, 10 killer. All those it's got really clear water. I like a translucent color popper, one that you can kind of see through the body of it, kind of a clear color. I like the shad patterns and the bluegill patterns. For those, and I will fish that popper on 10-pound test, fluorocarbon line, 7 foot 3, medium action rod, whatever reel you prefer, and just you can twitch it. May just make it bloop, bloop, or you can give it a couple of twitches, bloop, 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 or you can just, or some of them, I got 2 or 3 kinds that you can walk really well. You can actually make it kind of walk the dog, and it'll give that spit and bloop sound at the same time. So those are really good. If you can find one that you can make walk while you're working it in, then that is a good one to have at times, because you're using something smaller than a Zeraspook type bait, using something smaller, and a lot of times in highly pressured areas that smaller bait's going to get you more bites. So if you can get one that walks the dog, you'll be in business. And just let the fish tell you how they want that bait worked, where they want you popping it, or where they want you walking the dog. But those are my main baits for July. Of course, everybody knows you can always have a Senko tied on. Senko will be good anytime. But anyway, this video is long enough, and I'm just about to pull up to my first yard, and hope you're having a blessed week. Please hit the like, share, and subscribe button. And I will see you guys out on the water.